the Army of the Dead. The Dead Men of Dunharrow, or Men of the Mountains, referred to in adaptations as the Army of the Dead, were men of the White Mountains, cursed to remain in Middle-earth by Isildur after they abandoned their oath to aid him in the War of the Last Alliance. They haunted the caverns beneath the Dwimorberg and the valley of Harrowdale that lay in its shadow, though they were said to appear in the valley only in times of trouble or death. They were led by the King of the Dead. Since the line of Isildur was thought in the late Third Age to have ended, no one could call upon the Dead Men of Dunharrow to aid them in their hours of need, as they would only answer to an Heir of Isildur. What do you think of them and their inclusion? Do you think the Army of the Dead takes something away from the Lord of the Rings trilogy? Let me know in the comments, how would you prefer the books or films to have gone, or would you have kept them in it? I think they make the story worse and the films worse, but it's still the best trilogy ever made. Obviously, the claim that Army of the Dead ruins the Lord of the Rings is a matter of personal opinion and interpretation. However, some fans and critics may argue that the introduction of the Army of the Dead in The Return of the King undermines certain elements of Tolkien's narrative and themes. Here are some points to support my argument. The Army of the Dead serves as a convenient solution to the Battle of Pelennor Fields, where the forces of Gondor and Rohan are outnumbered by Sauron's army. Their sudden appearance and unstoppable power can be seen as a narrative shortcut, resolving the conflict too easily without requiring the characters to confront the consequences of their actions or make difficult choices. They would have faced death as Tolkien made his villain too powerful. This is very common with most stories and films, undermines themes of sacrifice and courage. Throughout The Lord of the Rings, characters like Frodo, Sam, Aragorn and others demonstrate courage, resilience and selflessness in the face of overwhelming odds. The arrival of the Army of the Dead diminishes the significance of their sacrifices and efforts by providing a supernatural force that can overpower Sauron's army without any personal risk or moral dilemma. It is far too easy. Lack of character development. The Army of the Dead is a plot device rather than fully developed characters with motivations, personalities or arcs. Their introduction feels disconnected from the rest of the story and can detract from the emotional depth and complexity of Tolkien's world. Contradicts the theme of free will. The Lord of the Rings emphasizes the importance of free will and the ability of individuals to choose their paths and shape their destinies. The Army of the Dead, bound by a curse to serve whoever holds the Oathbreaker's token, undermines this theme by portraying characters who are compelled to act rather than choosing to do so willingly. However, it's important to note that opinions on the Army of the Dead vary widely among fans and scholars. Some appreciate their inclusion as a fascinating element of Tolkien's mythology, while others view them as a misstep in an otherwise masterful narrative. Ultimately, whether the Army of the Dead ruins the Lord of the Rings depends on individual perspectives and interpretations of Tolkien's work. Additionally, the overpowering nature of the Army of the Dead detracts from the tension and stakes of the battles in the Lord of the Rings films. Their invincibility diminishes the sense of danger and suspense, making the conflicts feel less intense and the victories less earned. As a result, it can be argued that the inclusion of the Army of the Dead ultimately makes the films worse by undermining the narrative tension and the emotional investment of the audience. That is my thoughts. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Peace out.